Hey guys, today I'm so happy to finally be back to filming again. It's been a little while since I've sat down and done a talk through video. I filmed a couple of makeup diaries while I was on my road. I'm finally back home again. So we're gonna get back to regular scheduled content, which is not gonna be scheduled at all because I'm not a scheduled person, but it will be way more regular and I'm excited about it. So today I'm going to be reviewing for you the new The Sun and the Sea palette from Bella Beaute Bar. Now this is a palette that apparently they've had before, but they have reformulated it and this is a better version of it. So they sent it to me in PR so that I could show it to you guys. This palette is launching today when I'm filming this, so when this video is going up, this should be available already. I do have a code with Bella Beaute Bar. It's just Annette and it will save you 10% off. It is an affiliated code, so thank you so much to all of you who have used my codes. I really do appreciate it very much. So here's what the palette looks like. I'm going to show you two looks with this. I do have some thoughts and I'll show you the swatches right now, and I think that in general, it's a really, really beautiful color story. I love the contrast between the blues and the more warm tones, and I think that there are a lot of individually very, very pretty shades. I think my only kind of critique, if you will, is I feel like a lot of these shades are very similar. All of these three browns, they're very similar. I don't think we needed all three of them. I wish that there was maybe a brown that was in between these two instead, and then a darker brown than what is in here, because these three are black-based multichromes. Are they multichromes or duochromes? There's definitely one multichrome in here, and I feel like when there are black-based shadows in a palette, I prefer having a very dark matte to kind of go along with those, because they are going to have that very dark base, and I don't think that this is necessarily dark enough, or even this, to kind of pull together a look where you're going to use one of those shades. Of course, you're going to be able to find a way to use it if you want, but I think for me it would be a lot easier if there was a very, very dark matte in this palette, and I feel like that's kind of lacking. And I also think that these three, even though they are different, they are a little bit similar, and the same goes with these two blues. It's you can't really use one to deepen up the other because depth-wise they're pretty much the same. Overall, I think it is a really, really beautiful palette, and I'm excited to do another look with this. I'll show you the other look in the end, obviously. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start by priming my eyes with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base like I always do. And yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and get into it. I'm excited. I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna do today, but I did put on a blue shirt because I want to play with the blues. For the first look I did more of a neutrally pinky sort of look, and I want to do very much the opposite today, and I kind of wanted to go with my outfit, so that is going to be the plan. And I'm thinking maybe I'll do sort of a big blue wing on top, and then maybe play with some of the warm tone shades on my lower lash line, maybe the browns. I'm not completely sure. I do want to try out quite a few of these shades just because I want to, and they look really pretty. So I'm gonna start with a small angle brush. This is from Sigma. It's the E75. I do have a code with Sigma now as well. I don't even know if I've mentioned it. I mentioned it in one of my makeup diaries. I think it's just Annette for 10% off. So I'm gonna start with the shade called Deep Dive. When I swatched these two, they seemed a little bit, how would I explain it? As if they would have fallout. I don't know if that makes any sense, but they were a little bit just crumbly and dry, even though they felt smooth. I don't know, they just didn't swatch the absolute best, so I'm gonna be a little bit careful with these, and it's also why I'm not gonna try to do a lot of blending and building with these, because I just want to make sure that I get them to do what I want them to do. So I'm actually gonna start my wing a little bit lower down than I normally would here, and kind of just make the outline of this as if I would do a wing for hooded eyes. I can link that tutorial up in the corner if you have not already seen it. But I want to make sure that when I'm done with my wing, I still have a little bit of kind of room here to play with some of the other colors, and that way it's not going to look too disconnected. Sorry about the dog barking. My husband just got home and he's very excited. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect this to the upper lid. If you don't have hooded eyes, you're not going to have to worry as much about this. You can just kind of do the shape that you feel is most suitable for your eyes. But for me, having hooded eyes, I need to just kind of line things up in a way where it makes sense when my eyes are open. Let's see, is that even? I feel like my eyebrows are not even today. feel like this one is like higher up than this one, which they are, but I try to adjust that when I do my brows so that they look similar, even if in reality they're really not. So this is a very, very pretty blue shade. Like, I love the color of this. Now, are these completely even? I don't think so, but I think it's even enough that it's okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and use that same shade and just fill in the tail of my wing here. And then I think I wanna do the pastel blue in like the front portion of my crease. I do wanna have a little bit of color in my crease today. So even though I'm not fully done with this portion, I'm gonna take the lighter blue shade here, which is this one. This one looks so pretty. Let's see, this is a shade called Caribbean. And I'm gonna pack that pretty much like on the front portion of my lid and the front portion of my crease, and just really take it through my crease as well and meet it up with the dark blue shade. I'm not taking this like super high up. I don't want this to be like a very, I don't even know how to explain it, but I don't want this to be like all the way up to my brow. I do want to have room for a brow bone highlight as well. And this is a really, really pretty pastel. It's not even really pastel. It's more of like a bright light blue. I don't feel like this one has a lot of like white to it. It definitely has a lot of pigment. It is so stunning. And I'm gonna go back in again with a very tiny blending brush. This is the Rephr 13. You guys know I love this brush. And I'm just gonna make sure that I connect the crease to my wing here and just fill in the outer portion of my lid as well with this dark blue shade. Taking it a bit of a diagonal line here so that when I start blending the shimmers, it's going to be a little bit easier to just get a good blend between everything. If I already have a blend down, if that makes sense. It's just, things are just going to layer a little bit smoother on top. And I'm just making sure that I'm blending the two blues in together. I'm not pulling this too much further in. I just want to have a good blend like right here so that things are looking nice and smooth. So I think this is looking great. Like, I really like this. This is awesome. I'm gonna take one of the warm toned brown shades, which I don't know how this is going to end up looking. I think it's gonna look okay. Let me just use a very small brush for this. I'm gonna take I guess this is a Morphe M149. It's very similar to my small pencil brush from Rephr. I'm gonna take this more of like orangey brown shade, and I think I'm gonna use both of these. I'm gonna start with this one, and I'm just gonna take that underneath my eye. I might even want to bring in like a smaller brush than this. I might just use this shade as well. We'll see. I feel like this is dark enough that it's doing kind of what I wanted to do. And I'm just on the outer edge here, making sure that I still maintain that line, but I'm not going to really blend these together too much. And I don't want this to be too smoked out. I just want to have like this color so you can see it without it taking over the look at all. And I think I might layer some shimmers over this as well. We'll kind of see when I'm done with the lid. All right, so far I think this is looking awesome. I'm next going to put on some glitter primer, which I like to do with all of my shimmers. There are very few shimmer formulas that I don't feel like benefits from having a glitter primer, and I definitely think that these kind of shimmers that are very sparkly, some of them can be a little bit flaky, which this also helps with that, but anything that's like really, really sparkly and shiny, I feel like it's number one going to prevent fallout, but it's also just going to make them that much more special. If you put down a tacky base, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be this glitter primer. Anything that you have that is a little bit on the tacky side will help. So I think I'm just gonna do the blues on top. So I'm gonna start with, I might even want to use a little bit of this purple because it has a very strong blue shift to it. So maybe I'll use these two, like that could be kind of fun. So I'm gonna start with this one, which is the shade called Mermazing. And I'm gonna take that in the middle of my lid and blend it outwards into that wing. I'm gonna take it a little bit in as well because I do want to layer the other shade over the top of this. Plus I just want to see what this one looks like over a bigger area first. Like I can see a very strong shift in this. It's definitely like a purple to blue. That is really, really pretty. And then for the front portion, I'm gonna take what is probably my favorite shade in this palette without having used it, but it's a shade called Siren. I love these kind of colors. And there's just something about like this kind of formula. I could tell when I swatched it, I was like, yeah, that is my, that is my kind of shade. That is so pretty. Oh my God, I love it. It's sort of like a sheer shade, but it still has some pigment to it. Oh, I love that. That is so beautiful. So I'm gonna layer this quite a bit over that purple shade that I put down because I just think that I like this shade more. I just want more of this shade on my eyes, and I'm probably gonna do some of the iridescent blue in the inner corner as well and layer this over this one again. So just wanna make sure I have a good gradient between everything. Oh, that is so, these two colors together though, they look so good. Man, this is like an ocean on my eyes right now. Oh, so pretty. With a very, very small brush, I'm gonna dip into the iridescent blue shade, which is a shade called Sun Kiss. I'm not gonna use a ton of this. It's a little bit flaky, so I'm just gonna use a little. How many times can I say a little? Just right in my front portion of my top lid, because I do want to do the other shades on my bottom just so I can test out more of them. But this is so pretty too. Like, I just wanted a little bit. I guess this leans more kind of yellowy than it does blue, but it definitely has a blue shift to it. Like, this is doing exactly what I wanted to do. I just wanted a tiny bit of lightness just right here. And I'm also gonna take some of this on my brow bone as well. Not like a whole lot, but just enough that you can see that it's on there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a bit of the shade called Heat Wave. I don't know how this is going to look. This might end up looking crazy. This is a very, very smooth multi-chrome. I wish I knew where my Fix Plus was. I feel like it's disappeared on me, and that's making me a little bit annoyed because now I have nothing to spray this with. So I'm gonna use it dry. I'm gonna take it in the front portion of my lower lash line. I'm not sure how well you can see this. This would definitely look better if I had sprayed it because all shimmers do, but I just want this more as like a topper over that brown shade. I'm gonna take this about halfway across my lower lash line. I don't really like having shimmers out here. I don't know, I feel like it just looks kind of weird. But this is just adding like a really, really nice kind of sparkle to this look. And I'm also gonna take the other iridescent shade and layer a little bit over this. So it's gonna be a lot of shades. Like, I just want to play it with a lot of these. And I really love doing looks that have warm tones and cool tones in them and kind of contrast. I feel like it just looks really cool. And I don't think it's something you see too often. And a good way to do that is just, you know, doing one on the lower lash line and one on the top lid, because that way you're not blending them together and you don't have to worry about anything looking muddy. So I think this is really pretty. Next up, just to finish off, gonna take the shade called Water Nymph, which is the other iridescent shade in this palette, which is more of a pink. This one is also a little bit flaky. And it would be a lot easier to maneuver if I did spray this, but like I said, I don't know where my Fix Plus is, so this is just what we're doing. We're just gonna use it dry. And I think that's doing exactly what I wanted to do. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and finish off with this look. I think this is all I'm gonna do for the eyeshadow. This is so pretty. Like, I love this look. So I just put on some lashes and some lipstick. I'm gonna tell you what is on the rest of my face today because I'm not going to be including this in my makeup diaries because I just wanna make sure that I get up the clips that I do have filmed already so that I don't end up being like too far behind. So my foundation and stuff is still the same. I'm using the Pat McGrath bronzer today, which I absolutely love this. I'm using a Pat McGrath blush as well, which is the shade called Cherish, one of my absolute favorites. And my highlighter today is from the Scooby-Doo and Glamlight palette. I'm using this shade in the middle because I have packed down my Noctilucent palette because I brought it on my trip and I just got back and I have not unpacked. So that is pretty much it. And then my lip combo is the Natasha Denona My Perfect or My Dream lip liner, which, can you see how small this is? I have never used this much of a lip liner ever in my life, and I'm definitely going to go through this. And then my lip gloss today is the shade called Drizzle from Unearthly Cosmetics. I just wanted a gloss because my lips are so dry. They're like cracking and I don't know why. Probably because I'm dehydrated, but I'm trying to pretend like that's not the case, but that's probably the case. So let me, before I do anything else, show you the other look that I have done with this palette. So I filmed that look yesterday and I wanted something that was not neutral, but like more kind of neutrally leaning and not like too bam in your face, but still really pretty. So I used the shade called Sunbathe and Tan Lines and I kind of mixed them together to get a more of a transition-y shade brown. I didn't want like a super dark brown, so I used that in my transition, and then I used the shade Bikini, which is the beautiful pink shade, sort of as my outer corner and my crease shade. I didn't want this look to be too dark. And then I used the, which did I use on my lips? I think it was the shade called Sandcastle, which is just the pink shade. So beautiful, so sparkly, so pretty. And I also used some of the iridescent shade. And I just wanted it to be a very simple, but still, you know, pretty look. And I think that I accomplished that very nicely. And so far, I've had a really good time with this palette, which I'm not surprised by at all because I really like Bella Beaute Bar's formula. I think that especially their newer palettes have been amazing, and I'm so excited to see what they do in the future. I've always loved their shimmer formula. I think that they are so beautiful, so they're exactly what I like in my shimmers. I like that kind of wet look on the lid, as you can see with the look today too. It's just so shiny and sparkly and impactful, and I love that about them. And I think that the mattes in here are really nice as well. Obviously I can't really, you know, give you a very thorough review because I didn't do a lot of blending with this look, but they're very nice and pigmented. And yeah, I didn't have any issues at all. I actually didn't have any fallout with this blue either, which was really nice, even though I didn't do a lot of blending. Again, just keep that in mind. I did not do a lot of blending with this look. I basically just put down the colors. But I think everything just looks really nice, and I'm so happy I have this palette in my collection. The only things that I mentioned in the beginning were, you know, some color choices that maybe I would have switched around if it was up to me, just to make this a little bit more, not so repetitive. Like, I just feel like some of these shades are a little bit too similar, but like overall, I love the idea behind this palette. I love the color story. I like the theme. I like all of the shades individually, but I would have made a couple of tweaks if it was like up to me, but it was not up to me. So this is how the palette is. If you're interested, it should be available now. I can't imagine it had sold out. I don't know. I can't tell you for sure though, but I will have the website link down below if you want to go check it out. I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I promise it's not going to be that long until my next video, probably a couple days. So keep an eye out for that because I do have a lot of new things that have come into my collection while I was gone that I need to start filming with. So there might be some first impressions coming and not like too many thorough reviews, but I'll try to have some of those up as well. So thank you so much for watching. Like I said, if you want to see some more Bella Beaute Bar content, I do have a playlist. I'll put that on the screen. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.